Well, let's go back to some green arrows because these are finally nice to see after 4 weeks of losses for the markets. You've got a nice little rally to start off your week, but with two major events this week. We've got the presidential debate and the September jobs report on Friday, which will have the biggest impact on markets. I want to bring in our traders, Phil Flynn and Tom Hayes. Guys, it's great to have you both here. Phil, tell me, which are you going to watch more closely this week? Is it going to be the debate and the performance of the candidates, or is it going to be the jobs report Friday, where the unemployment rate is expected to tick down a little bit?
I know what I should be saying, Cheryl. I should be saying the jobs report, but I don't think it is. I really don't. I think this debate is going to be the biggest thing since the Super Bowl or the World Series. This is going to be huge because it basically is going to really determine, whether or not, President Trump can deliver a knockout punch that everybody's expecting in this debate, or is Vice President Biden going to make a game out of this debate right now? I mean, the polls are tightening in a lot of places around the country. A lot of differences in economic policies coming down from, Vice President Biden versus Trump. And if it looks like Vice President Biden lays a couple of gloves on Donald Trump, the market could start worrying about a Biden presidency, about more higher taxes, more regulations. What is that going to do to the energy industry? He's talked out of both sides of his mouth when it comes to fracking. Does it mean we're going to stop fracking? Does it mean that oil prices are going to go to the moon because we're not producing oil? So I think if it looks like Vice President Biden puts in a strong performance, it means that the odds of him winning improve a little bit.
Yeah.
But let's face it. I mean, most people expect Donald Trump to knock him out. We'll see if it happens.
We'll see what happens. That's obviously the big question. This is their first time on the debate stage going against each other, Thomas. But, Phil actually is on to something. Jane Foley, who's a constant guest on FBN AM with me in the mornings, had said that a lot of these comments that she's heard from the president have made her and some of her colleagues at Rabobank nervous because, will they accept the election? That's been kind of a question mark out there, even though he says we'll see. But then she says, if you factor in all the things that are going on with the economy, that this means volatility is going to continue. And that can be difficult waters to tread when you're trying to invest money right now.
Yeah, well, Cheryl, I have to agree with Phil here. No surprises on the job report. We will tick down closer to 8%. We'll add 850,000 non-farm payrolls. But the debate and the election, Cheryl, this is the key for two reasons. The Democratic tax plan is dangerous for the stock market. Leave ideology aside. The stock market, the corporate tax rate going up from 21 to 28%, Goldman Sachs has said would bring down 2021 earnings estimates from $170 per share to $150 per share. Not only do you get the loss in earnings, but you'll likely get multiple contraction because the market will expect slower growth. So you could see a re-rating of the stock market of 18 to 25% if that tax plan is implemented, number one. Number two, long-term capital gains. They want to raise it from 20% to 39.6% for people making over $1 million. What you would have is a rush for the exits before the end of the year to lock in the low tax rate. So that's the bad news. The good news is, in order to affect the Democratic tax plan, you would need a sweep of the executive branch, the Senate, and the House, which is very unlikely. The market is sniffing that out. Gridlock is good. If you look over the last 100 years, having a mixed executive, Senate, and House is a good thing. And that's what the market is expecting. So we'll be watching the debate very closely, and it's very, very important from a mathematical standpoint for earnings in the stock market, Cheryl.
Yeah, all eyes on Ohio tomorrow night. And obviously, how the markets react on Wednesday is going to be, I think, fascinating to watch. Phil Flynn, Thomas Hayes. Gentlemen, thanks to both of you. Really appreciate it.